Bakudan meets Attorney Vic Rodriguez. At sa hapon pong ito, this afternoon, we are here to hear all the questions and answers from Bakudan and from Attorney Vic Rodriguez. Without further ado, i-introduce ko po muna yung guest natin for today. Our guest for today is Mr. Kimura Mitsuhiro. Siya po ay isang political activist, patriotic of Isoikai, at president po. At siya po ay naghama ng Asia na journalist and of course, opponent ng US. And of course, ang isa pong kasama niya, si Mr. Nakagawa Motohiro, kami no Bakudan Chief Editor. And of course, ang ating lingkod, Attorney Vic Rodriguez, na siya po ang matapang na sasagot sa hapong ito sa mga katanungan na ibabato ng ating mga Japanese journalists this afternoon. Kaya po, welcome po lahat sa live streaming na ito. And Mina, yoroshiku onegaishimasu.
今日はどうもお願いいただいて本当に光栄でございます。ありがとうございます。
Good afternoon, and thank you for inviting me this afternoon. Magandang hapon sa lahat ng ating kababayan na nanonood ngayon at nakasubaybay.
それで今日はいろいろともう時間もないことですからお話を伺いたいと思います。まず最初の質問なんですけども、2年前の大統領選挙におきまして、ボンボン・マルコス大統領が今ですね、大統領になりました。この方が訴えた主張というのはどんな主張だったのか、そしてそれがまた大統領に就任されてからちゃんと実行されているのかどうか、ちょっとお聞きしたいんですね。
Sir, ang question po niya is, what was the central theme that Bongbong Marcos advocated in the 2022 Philippine election, and has President Marcos acted on it since taking office?
Oh, we were carrying only two central messages that resonated to the hearts, the minds, and the appeal of to the Filipino people. And these are the message of unity and continuity. Continuity of the many good programs of the Duterte administration, and unity to unify the country, because back then in 2022, we were still battling, the whole world was still battling the COVID-19 pandemic. And for any new administration or new incoming administration or president for that matter to be successful, you must be able to rally the entire population, your entire nation behind you, because considering that there's still pandemic back then. Did he carry that message all the way to his administration and governance? Unfortunately, no. There was no unity at all, and neither was there any continuity. In fact, in the initial 2 years of his administration, it was marked by severe political persecution of the Vice President Sara Duterte, and not only the Vice President, but even the father of Vice President Inday Sara Duterte is a victim of an ongoing political persecution, and he is being subjected to a lot of farce investigation meant to embarrass, debase, and humiliate the Duterte name, the Duterte brand of politics, and the Duterte family.
I see.
出身テーマは団結でした。
はい。
いいえ。ボンボン・マルコスはこの選挙メッセージを破っただけでなく、副大統領候補のサラ・ドテルテ副大統領と彼女の父であるロドリゴ・ドテルテ前大統領を正規的に迫害しました。また、彼は一般のフィリピン人の生活を向上させ、フィリピンの農業を改善、活性化、改革するために働くという国民との約束を守りませんでした。
そうですね。日本の報道でもそういう、ボンボン・マルコスさんのおかしさがね、出てますね。
はい。
じゃあ次ですね。
Yeah. I just appeal you for Marcos.
私たちは外交とアジアの安全保障について強い関心を持っています。私の前にインタビューをしました元大統領の報道官のロレイン・マドイ医師は、外交についてマルコス大統領がドゥテルテ前大統領の方針を維持すると明言していたにもかかわらず、大統領就任後には米国の犬になったと批判していました。日本もかつて戦争で、敗れた後、政府が米国に追従しているのが今あります。この状況の日本の自主的な外交政策を妨げていますが、これがアジア諸国の関係にとってあまり良い関係を結んでいません。私たちはフィリピンが憲法によって米軍を撤退させた、歴史的な努力に敬意を持っています。そしてまた現在のフィリピンと米国の関係は今どのようになっていらっしゃるでしょうか。教えていただきたいです。
The question is, we are most interested in foreign affairs and Asian security. In our past interview, former presidential spokesperson Dr. Lorraine Badoy criticized President Marcos for becoming a dog of the United States after taking office. Despite his clear commitment to maintaining former President Duterte's policy on foreign affairs, Japan's government's subservience to the United States since its defeat in World War II has hindered Japan's independent foreign policy and has had a negative impact on relations between Asian countries. We respect the Philippines' historical efforts to withdraw U.S. troops through the Constitution. What do you think about the current relationship between the Philippines and the United States?
Well, as to the foreign policy, we have to concede that in our nation, the chief architect of our foreign policy in the Philippines is the President of the Republic. But unfortunately, his foreign policy, I say, is a flawed one because foreign policy and foreign relation, I believe, should be inclusive. It should be diverse and should never be exclusive to the exclusion of all other nations. And we just embraced the American influence, the American direction, and the American interest. And in our Constitution, it's very clear that we must pursue an independent foreign policy. But with the hosting of 9 EDCA sites, these are essentially U.S. military bases operating within my country, within the Philippines. And because of hosting the 9 EDCA bases or U.S. military bases, it has brought the entire country, the Philippines, the Republic of the Philippines, and its entire population into harm's way. The Americans brought with them in these 9 EDCA bases or 9 military bases the mid-range missiles, or more popularly known in military lingo as Typhoon or Typhoon missiles. And this has caused a lot of stir in the region, and even Russian President Vladimir Putin reacted that they do not welcome the introduction of this mid-range capable missile from America to the Philippines. And I believe that it will not in any way help diffuse and de-escalate the tension brought about by the multiple nation claimants in the South China Sea. And I don't think it will bring any desired peace, stability, and growth economically in the region if for as long as the Philippines will play hosts to American dictates, American influence, and American interest. The foreign policy that is existing now in my country, unfortunately, is not for the interests of the Philippines. It's not for the interest of the Filipino people. Bongbong Marcos is pursuing a policy that is totally for the benefit of the Americans. Bongbong Marcos is pursuing a flawed foreign policy that has brought the nation into harm's way, and almost several months back, seemingly on the brink of war with our superpower neighbor China.
I see. Oh, there.
ボンボン・マルコスはフィリピンの外交政策の主任責任者ですが、中国のような他の同様に14国を排除して、組国に軸足を移すのは間違っています。外交政策と関係は、純粋な軍事安全保障同盟だけでなく、政治、非文化、貿易、商業、さらには人と人との交流の面で我が国が最も恩恵を受けることができる他の国々と対応者、協力できればべきです。
まあ、そして、私たちがアジアのですね、今ちょっとお話ししてましたけど、関係で東シナ海のですね、平和と南シナ海のね、平和と安定についてどのようなことが取っていけばいいのか、対中国の関係とかフィリピンの関係とかは大半ですけど、この辺の関係をどうやって我々が考えていったらいいのかと。やっぱりアメリカがその介入してきていろいろ世界の軍事的なことを見ると、いろいろな介入してきて、そのことによって対立を生まされてしまっている、そういう状況があるんですけど、それはやっぱりそれぞれの国が平和的に話して対話していくということが重要なんじゃないかと思うんですけど、いかがでしょうか。
When you think about peace and stability in Asia, what do you think is the problem?
And the problem is the heavy interference of the United States of America into the domestic affairs of the Philippines. If you can see, it is not only my country that has claims over that part of South China Sea, even Japan, even Taiwan, even Malaysia, even Vietnam, and many other nations. But they never seem to be agitating China militarily or even naval. It is only the Americans who is trying to use my country, the Philippines, at the expense of the Filipino people, young and old alike, into a proxy war between the US and China. We should not be an enemy to China, and the present administration, the Bongbong Marcos administration, should have pursued the line of the previous administration, President Duterte, that we should be friends to every nation and enemy to none. But with the total and sudden pivot of our foreign policy to one that is of inclusive and diversified foreign policy and foreign relation to exclusive US, that really triggered a lot of instability in our region, in the South China Sea, and we should not, as a nation, the Republic of the Philippines, should not allow any meddling by any foreign state or nation, specifically the United States of America. Not that I have anything against them. They have been our ally, they have been our friends, they have been our longest treaty ally. And we fought shoulder to shoulder during World War II, and they've given us many, many help in the past. But the lies that they're peddling now cannot and should not be permitted to go on. Their initial justification that was broadcasted in all media, traditional and social media sites back home in the Philippines, that the EDCA sites, the US military bases sites, are meant for humanitarian and relief mission and assistance. But to date, we have gone through several typhoons and that have witnessed, that have seen big parts of the National Capital Region, the Luzon, and other parts of the country flooded. Not a single American personnel was there to conduct humanitarian or relief mission. So this is totally a lie being peddled by the Americans and being pushed by the Bongbong Marcos administration. I think the biggest single threat to the peace in the region is not the multiple claims of nation over several islands or rocks, as has been declared by the UNCLOS in the South China Sea, but the active interference of the United States of America.
南シナ海であらせている国の中で、フィリピンは自国の利益ではなく、組国の利益には物語と北西に従って目的に崩している唯一の国です。私たちはメガホン外交ではなく、直接対面して、有利外交的な解決を追求すべきです。超大国である隣国中国と全面的な解除及び軍事一つを起こすことは、フィリピンにとって財前の利益ではありません。アメリカも何も手伝いはなく、私たちは公民国の鉄壁の軍事支援の約束に頼るのではなく、二国間協議を通じてこの地域の平和安全配慮を強くするよう努めるべきです。
そうね。非常に正しい意見でね、直接対話をしていくっていうことが重要で、やっぱりそのゲオポリティックっていうか、地政学的な面がありますから、そういうことと、それとあと今戦争っていうスタイルが変わってきてですね、要するに A2、AD っていうのがね、あって、その A2AD っていうのは、要するに、アクセスをしなくてミサイルで飛んできて、さらには、領域をそこに入れさせないっていう形が出てるんで、そういう面におきましては、フィリピンのこれからの戦争をね、回避する、やめさせるっていうのは直接対話が必要なんじゃないかと思っています。
He said, sir, because of what's happening right now, it's called about war in the Philippines, not only the Philippines, but all over because of the incompetence of our president. But still, the Philippines don't want war.
It is not in the best interest of any nation, most especially not my country, to pursue that path leading to a full-blown shooting war with a superpower neighbor China. It is not in our interest. We do not have the capability, and we should stop believing the lies being peddled by the Bongbong Marcos administration and together with the United States government that of their ironclad, the United States ironclad commitment to protect and secure the Philippines in case of aggression on the part of China. Because in that 1951 Mutual Defense Treaty, there was not mention of any conflict yet pertaining to the South China Sea. And that much ballyhooed Mutual Defense Treaty ironclad commitment by the United States, it will not kick in automatically, just like any other intervention by the United States government. It has to go through their legislative bill to their Congress, and it needs the approval of their Congress whether or not they should come into the help or succor of a nation that suddenly finds herself at war with another nation or another country. And the Filipino people should understand the situation of the Ukrainian people. The same false promise given by the United States of America. Look at where Ukraine is now. It's more than 2 years that they are at war with Russia, and seemingly they cannot find an end in sight on how to exit in that war that was not to their own liking or making, but rather upon the instigation of the United States of America. And we don't want to become another Ukraine. We don't want to end up and become another Ukraine. So it's not in our interest, not the Philippines, not Japan, not anyone in the region. The United States should, I think, uh, just respect our sovereignty, our independence, the Philippines, Japan, and all other nations in this part of the globe, and let us chart our own independent growth. They should respect our independence, and we cannot be subservient to them anymore.
So very good. And I also I want to independent from Japan, United States. So I making of Japanese self-determination in Japan. Now inside Japan, 100 American base stay here. So we are against to American policy and American base without kick off the arts. So I want to from independent from America, United States. So this time and next November, established of American president of election. Maybe president of Trump or Harris. Harris. So one person, good people, is Robert Kennedy Jr.
Yeah.
He say good opinion because he all of ours, United States military, 800 base all of world in the world. So he said, if he get become president, he decided come back all base of in the world. Then I sent, I agree with you. I send a message, so he very happy. So, what do you think about Kennedy Jr. This opinion?
Well, I agree. I agree with his opinion that I think to really de-escalate, diffuse all tension, just withdraw, if not all, most of the U.S. military bases scattered all over the world. And I take special, of course, it's closest to my heart. Better to shut down all those EDCA bases that are operating in my country, in the Republic of the Philippines, because it has not brought us any good. In fact, it has brought the entire country, the entire population, young and old, healthy and those who are sickly alike, into harm's way. And again, what is unforgivable there is our Constitution prohibits the introduction of any nuclear missile or missile of any kind. But here they are, brought with them the mid-range missile, the Typhoon missile that has alarmed even the president of Russia, Vladimir Putin, as like what I have intimated to you early on in this interview. So it is not in our interest to find ourselves in conflict militarily with any nation. 80 years have passed since World War II. And my country, unfortunately and sadly, is still very, very poor. We go out of the country sometimes for work, for business, or for
Yes.
vacation. We cannot help but feel pity, feel so small. How come Japan has progressed to where you are now and how you are now, and we still are in the same situation where we were 80 years ago. I don't think the neighboring nation have surpassed us. I think the leaders that we had, the politicians that we had, especially what we have now in Bongbong Marcos administration, pulled us back. And sadly, we are still where we are now, 8 years ago, when our war ended.
OK。
大丈夫ですか。
先
先の聞きたいことが国会は日本語をしていいんですか。先のユクレインのこととかさ、戦争、ね、フィリピン人が戦争を信じていない。なぜなら中国に対抗する力がないから。アメリカ政府は我々に約束しているが、ユクレイナは戦争状態にあるが、戦争から抜き出す方法がわからない。我々はもう一つのユクレイナを望んでいない。フィリピン人は戦争を好まない。我々は独立と主権を望んでいない。フィリピンが本当は戦争を好まないです。
そうだからフィリピンは戦争を好んでない。フィリピンは平和であってほしい。
はい、
しかしアメリカがいろいろ中国とぶつけていく。そういうことがある。
Yes,
だから我々は連帯して戦争をやめるように声を上げていかなきゃいけないし、平和を作っていきましょう。
Sinasabi niya po, Amerika daw taga-sulsul na mag-gera, sinisiraan ng China para magkagulo, tapos nang iiwan naman ng Amerika.
I agree. Kaya ay importante sa mga kababayan natin na nanonood na huwag tayong maniniwala sa mga maling pangako ng Estados Unidos. Tandaan natin, yung ginawa rin nila sa Afghanistan, itong kamakailan lamang, iniwan din nila ang Afghanistan matapos guluhin yung bansa. At ganoon din ang Ukraine. Ang Ukraine, ang problema ng Ukraine ngayon, paano tapusin yung digmaan na dahil din sa pag-uudyok ng mga Amerikano. At ganoon din dito sa panig natin sa pagitan ng Pilipinas at China, hindi tayo dapat pumayag, bagamat malalim na si Bongbong Marcos sa kanyang relasyon sa Amerika at nagpapagamit. Ako'y naniniwala na higit na nakararaming Pilipino, yung soberanya ay hindi pumapayag na tayo ay kaladkarin sa isang armadong digmaan laban sa China. So yung mga kababayan natin nanonood, ating tutulan ito at tayo'y maging aktibo, iparinig din natin ang ating tinig. Tutulan natin ito dahil wala tayong kapanapanalo sa kahit anong armadong digmaan na ating papasukin dahil lamang sa pag-uudyok ng mga Amerikano. Maraming milyong-milyong Pilipino lang ang mamamatay pag tayo ay sumuong dyan sa direksyon ni Bongbong Marcos. Mamamatay ang maraming Pilipino, higit tayo maghihirap. Tatandaan ninyo, yung naramdaman natin at dinanas ng COVID-19, wala nang ospital na kayang tumanggap doon sa mga mahal natin sa buhay, kaibigan, kakilala, kahit yung mga estranghero na nagkasakit ng COVID-19. Paano pa kaya kung isang armadong digmaan ang ating papasukin? We do not have the infrastructure, we do not have the facilities, we do not have specialty hospitals that will cater to the many that will be wounded, that will suffer. We do not have that much capability to address to all those who have died, like what we have experienced during COVID-19. Body bags after body bags sa kahilera sa labas ng mga funeral parlors, lalo pa ang digmaan. Kaya hindi natin interes na pasukin yung pag-uudyok ng mga Amerikano na tayo ay makipagkiskisan sa ating kapitbahay na China to the point of even entertaining the thought of having a full-blown shooting war with our neighbor China. Hindi po natin interes yan. Ang kailangan ng mga Pilipino ay trabaho, negosyo, hanap buhay, at ang totoong paglaban sa korupsyon. Lagi kong sinasabi, hindi natin kinakailangan pumasok sa anumang digmaan. Ang kinakailangan natin ngayon, sa panahon natin, sa kasaysayan natin, ay maglunsad ng giyera laban sa korupsyon. Yan ang kinakailangan natin at yan ang hinahangad ng mga Pilipino.
Maraming salamat po. じゃあ、ここ
いいですね。
で終わりですけど、ただ、有権者からの質問があります。yung namamasabi ko dasay. May mga tanong po tayo galing sa ating mga constituents, attorney. From Marie Iwatsuki ng Kasinuma Miyagi, Ken. Ano po ba ang aasahan ng taong bayan pag kayo nanalo? Alam naman natin na 80% sa politiko magaling mangako sa taong bayan. Ngunit pag nanalo na, limot na lahat. At kung sakali manalo kayo, sana wag po kayo maligaw ng landas.
Ay, maraming salamat Marie at sa iyong panunood ngayong ating ginagawang live interview. Ano ba ang magagawa ko? Kagaya ng sinabi ko, ako po ay opisyal at formal ng aplikante ninyo pagka-senador at ano ba ang pamunahin kong nais gawin pag tayo ay pinahiram ninyo ng inyong tiwala at mandato. Tatlong bagay. Ibabasura natin. We will make enough alliances, hopefully, at ibasura natin yung resolution number 10. Yung resolution number 10, ako'y naniniwala, ito yung ugat ng korupsyon sa ating bansa ngayon. Yung liquidation by mere certification. Pangalawa, ating bubuwagin yung tinatawag nating provincial rate ng sahod. Dahil ako'y naniniwala na kung ano ang sahod sa Talagang Maynila o sa National Capital Region, yun din ang dapat isahod ng mga nasa probinsya. Dahil hindi ho totoo na mas mura ang cost of living sa probinsya. Riting ko, ang aking ginagawang halimbawa, yung isang pirasong manok na may kanin sa Jollibee sa probinsya, ganun din ho ang presyo ng isang pirasong manok na may kanin sa Metro Manila at vice versa. Wala akong katotohanan na mas mura ang cost of living sa probinsya. In fact, in many instances, mas mahal pa nga manirahan sa probinsya dahil wala naman sila mga specialty hospitals doon na kapag nangailangan ng pamilya, may nagkasakit sa pamilya, obligado na dadalhin mo pa sa Metro Manila, pagka ganyan at hindi naman ito reachable by land, magkailangan mong magpamasahe ng eroplano o dili kaya, kung by land, tatawid ka, sasakay mo sa Roro, at babalik ka uli by land, magbabayad ka ng toll, magbabayad ka ng crude or gasolina, o kaya magsasakay ka ng barko. So, doble-doble pa nga yung gastos ng mga taga-probinsya. So, I will work for the abolition of that distinction as regards the salary or sahod ng taga-Metro Manila at taga-probinsya. Wala na dapat provincial rate. And finally, ang lagi kong sinasabi, the alpha and the omega of our problems now in the country is the national budget. Babantayan natin yung budget. Simula pa lamang sa paglimbag nito, habang ito ay pinoproseso sa Kongreso, sa mataas na kapulungan, sa Senado at sa mababang kapulungan, all the way hanggang sa ito ay mapirmahan ng Pangulo at all the way hanggang sa ito ay ginagamit ng mga ahensya. Babantayan natin na hindi ninanakaw yung pera nating mga Pilipino at ito yung aking layunin, yung sinasabi kong samahan ninyo ako, labanan natin ang korupsyon at tugisin natin lahat ng magnanakaw sa gobyerno.
May isa pa po tayong pahabol, sir, galing sa Iwatiken, si Ms. Cecilia Nishimura. Ano po ang plataforma para sa bayan kung sakaling kayo po ay isa sa maihalal na bagong senador ng ating bansa? All the best po on the upcoming election, sir, and more power.
Maraming salamat. Kagaya ng sinabi ko, the alpha and the omega of all our problems is the budget. Babantayan natin yung budget na yan. Para yung perang napupunta sa korupsyon, yung mga ninanakaw ng mga tiwaling politiko, ibalik natin sa kaban ng bayan at makinabang ang lahat ng Pilipino. Halimbawa na lamang, yung pakikialam sa pondo ng PhilHealth. Buti na lang nag-issue ng temporary restraining order ang Supreme Court, bagamat huli na dahil na-release na yung 60 billion pesos more or less of that 89.9 billion pesos PhilHealth funds. Yan dapat ay ginagamit na higit pang palawigin ang serbisyong kung saan ang ordinaryong Pilipino ay magbenepisyo. Yan sana ay ginamit na mabayaran yung mga miyembro ng Private Hospital Association of the Philippines Incorporated na may pagkakautang pa ang PhilHealth ng higit kumulang 4.5 billion pesos bunsod nung COVID-19 pandemic. At kung yan sana iginamit para pababain yung mga contribution, yung monthly contribution ng lahat ng miyembro ng PhilHealth, di sana mas nakikinabang yung mga miyembro, yung sambayan ng Pilipino. Kaya lang, ulitin ko, kaya kayo inaanyayahan, samahan ninyo ako dito sa ating war on corruption, itong gera laban sa korupsyon, labanan natin ang korupsyon at tugisin natin itong mga tiwaling tao sa gobyerno, tugisin natin ang mga magnanakaw sa gobyerno.
May dagdag pa po na tanong, sir, galing kay Mirna San Jose. Speaker Martin Romualdez is at the center of bribery case in the United States, involving the raging conflict between Japanese billionaire Kazuo Okada and his son over ownership of Okada Casino Resort, Manila. What is your take on this, and how does it affect Japanese investors or other foreign investors in the Philippines?
Nakakahiya talaga. At kung mismo yung Speaker of the House of Representatives ang nasa gitna ng kontrobersiya na sinasabing inagaw yung pagmamayari ng Okada. Walang matinong negosyante ang maglalakas loob na magpasok ng kanilang hard-earned money sa ating bansa kung ang mangyayari lamang pag pinag-interesan nung mga nasa kapangyarihan ay aagawin na lamang. At ang dami-daming walang kabuluhan at walang katuturang investigasyon ginagawa ang ating Kongreso ngayon. Ito dapat mga iniimbestigahan, hindi yung mga ang layunin lamang ay pakasiraan ang pamilya Duterte. Ang layunin lamang ay to demonize President Rodrigo Roa Duterte. Ang layunin lamang ay impeach si Vice President Inday Sara Duterte. Ang layunin lamang ay tanggalan ng mandato ang 32 million Filipinos who constitutionally, legally, lawfully, and democratically elected Inday Sara as our Vice President.
May additional pa po, Attorney. Okay lang po ba?
Sige lang.
Anong batas po ang isusulong ni Atty Vic para sa karapatan at kaligtasan ng mga OFWs around the world? From Alma Yulo.
Ay, Alma, marami na tayong mga batas na naipasa ang ating Senado at ang ating Kongreso. Siguro what we should do now, assuming I will be elected as your senator, will use the oversight functions of the Senate. Hindi lamang sa OFW, panoorin natin, gamitin natin yung function na yan. Kung ito ba ay na ipapatupad ng maayos, according to the wisdom of the law when it was being crafted and all the way when it was passed. At babalik ulit tayo, hindi natin pwedeng kalimutan at tigilan yung issue ng budget. Naniniwala ako, ulitin ko, na ang simula't katapusan ng ating problema sa ating bansa ay ang budget. Yung ating gera laban sa korupsyon at yung ating pagtugis sa mga magnanakaw at tiwaling politiko sa gobyerno. Dahil yung pera, imagine na lang ho ninyo, if 40% of our budget are wasted because of corruption, if we can just reduce it to 20% and bring back the 20%, flow it back to the National Treasury, yung 20% na yan, napakalaking pera niyan. At maaaring makinabang, hindi lamang kayong OFWs, pati yung kamag-anak ninyo. Sa paanong paraan? Babalik tayo dito sa pinakikilaman nilang pondo ng PhilHealth. Imagine po ninyo, 89.9 billion pesos PhilHealth funds kinukuha ng administrasyon ni Bongbong Marcos. Ang sabi ko nga, pati ho yung mga kamag-anakan ninyo na PWDs, yung may disabilities at yung mga senior citizen. Kung sinama na lang sana, pati yung assistive device, kagaya ng wheelchair, yung mga saklay, yung mga baston, yung mga electronic device na para pwede kayo magmanik-manaog sa inyong bahay, kung ito sana ay hindi ginalaw, baka pati ito pwede nang saklawin ng PhilHealth. Pero hindi nga magawa ng PhilHealth dahil kinuha ng administrasyon ni Bongbong Marcos ang pera ng PhilHealth. Hindi po pera ng gobyerno yan. That came from your contribution, lalo pa nung nasa mga manggagawa, tuwing sahod ho, binabawasan kayo yung inyong mandatory contribution sa PhilHealth. Yung PhilHealth funds po ay pera ninyo. Hindi ho yan pera ni Bongbong Marcos. Hindi po yan pera ng Marcos administration. Pera po ng mga Pilipino yan. Kaya huwag kayong pumayag na kunin nila yan at mauuwi na naman sa corruption. And siguro dagdag ko lang din, hindi lang ito pang OFW, Alma, kundi lahat ng Pilipino. Binahanan naman tayo. Hanapin din natin yung 500 billion pesos flood control funds. Hanapin natin yung 5,500 flood control programs. Nasaan yan? Pera ng Pilipino yan. Panagutin natin ang mga magnanakaw sa gobyerno, labanan natin ang korupsyon, tugisin natin ang mga tiwali at magnanakaw sa gobyerno.
Thank you so much, Attorney Vic. Wala na po tayong tanong. And of course, we would like to thank the presence of Mr. Kimura and Mr. Nakagawa to make this live possible. And to all Filipino who watch our live, thank you very much.
So, shout out lang ako, Lynn, kay
Yes,
Irene Oikawa. Kamusta ka? Si Irene ho ang nag-compose ng kantang pasasalamat na kanyang inihandog at sinulat para kay Pangulong Rodrigo Roa Duterte. Ganon din sa aking kaibigan, kay SCBI Philippines President Juliet Ichijo at si SCBI Japan, ang aking kaklase nung araw pa, si Bani Mukonoki. Mabuhay kayo at maraming salamat sa lahat ng Pilipino na aking muling nakaharap dito sa Japan. At thank you for this opportunity, gentlemen, that you have given me this afternoon.
Thank you very much.
Kamsahamnida.
Appreciate.
Thank
I don't
you.
know.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Mr. Namamari, next time.
Sure. Although I will not be able to understand